We haven't done a show in a long ass fucking time. I just saw the live come up right now. If you're not following Real Talk Boxing on all social media, make sure you are. So if you can't find it, Google us. We're everywhere. And it's been a minute since we did this. I'm one of your hosts, Robert Reyes. Follow me at Kings2309 on all social media. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
My name's Chris, alias Mainzilla. That's MAINZILLA. And I ain't got to spell no more because it's down there on the bottom now. So that's what's up. Just pay homage to the boy Tumzilla. And glad to be back, guys. Glad to do this again. And let's get it going.
Well, I'm excited. We finally are back. This YouTube live thing is working out perfectly fine. We're going to have a special guest today, right? And before that, just let you know, I'm Jay Martinez. You can find me on all social media, JMart1018. Just excited to talk and chat before we have our special guest on.
I sound really low on this shit.
Do we? Me?
No, bro, talk.
Yeah, what's up?
No, y'all sound really low. I don't know what the fuck it is. I can barely. Let me see if I got this shit turned up. Might have to put that headset back in.
Yeah, it's probably that.
We'll be talking like that. I don't want to have to put it back in.
Shit, bro, on the ones and twos.
So, first of all, what y'all? I don't know. I know Jay said he don't do TikTok and shit. But I told bro, like I put one of the videos. Castillo Corrales on TikTok, and the motherfucker got 23,000 views.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
The name Corrales and Castillo just bring numbers like themselves, man. That's one of the best fights I ever seen. And it was the 10th round, right? Is that what that was? The 10th round?
Yeah, it's the 10th round. Yeah, the end of the 10th round.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that TikTok thing is pretty entertaining, man. I have one, but I really don't fuck with it. But I look at the stuff on there, man. Some of that stuff is pretty.
Yeah, the girls use it the most, and then I started watching different people on there. Some of the people are pretty fucking hilarious. Like I got certain people I follow on there. It's pretty funny. That's why I said I'll create one because it's the big thing right now. So it could be, you get a lot of recognition on there and stuff like that right now because it's the big social media blowing up.
So
I don't have one, and I won't get one, and I don't need one, and I'll tell you why. Because there's so much distraction, and I'm so busy. Like I was telling Chris a couple of seconds ago, that I'm doing my master's homework. I also got to stay on top of the kids if they're doing their work, as much that I can try to give them. So that's just all that I'm doing. Before we continue, I think Rob, your mic is a little bit too close to you because you can hear your. So you might have to just keep it a more further.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Better or what?
Yeah, you heard me breathing heavy.
Yeah. I tried to keep it near my mouth because I say this is my gaming headset, so trying not to keep it near my mouth at all, but I have to keep it off to the side because it's really loud. It picks up everything, so.
Well, welcome back to the PlayStation world. I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's funny because I put that shit on Facebook and people are like, "Oh, it's April Fool's. You're fooling me, right?" Nah, man. I was like, I've been thinking because I told you, I like playing MLB The Show and they don't have that shit on anywhere else. Mm-hmm. Like you can't sit here and they don't have that on PlayStation or then. But then I started looking at other shit. They got a lot of games on sale right now, so I was like, okay, I bought the WWE, but I'm still trying to figure that shit out. Like you have to create two people to go do the story mode, and
you gotta create a guy and a girl.
Yeah.
It's a little different. So I've been playing like the Hell in a Cell or just at least Elimination Chamber or whatever. Just try to learn the buttons and learn how to play it. So
yeah,
that MLB, is that any good?
Yeah, that's pretty good. So they don't make it for any other system, so that's what I've been playing. I play that, but I was like I said, I've been looking at. The only thing is I could trade somebody from Xbox. So the only thing is that I got to buy another remote control. You can tell remote controls like the Xbox and the PlayStation remote controls kind of the one that button sticks real bad. So I got to either get it fixed or get a remote control. So
first of all, I want to ask Rob, what phone are you using?
My phone.
No, but what is it? Like Apple, Samsung?
No, Samsung S Galaxy S10.
It's so clear. It's like literally so clear.
And you see my back camera. So I mean, it's not even the front camera. It's not even my back camera.
Yeah,
I'm
because
still
this
trying
is
to
my
fuck.
laptop, and I'm a little bit concerned. I'm like, man, this is my new laptop, but it's all good.
Yeah, the camera.
Before,
What's the quality though on a laptop? What's the quality? Because I don't think the pixelation is that good. Like you
I
might have
haven't,
to
I didn't.
like even those. Remember the cameras we used to use in the studio?
Yeah.
Like you could buy one of those, and that's fucking 1080p. Like that's straight best quality you can get. Like the newer ones, you pay
Yeah.
like $100 for it, and attach it to your laptop. So
I might do it as much as we continue doing these shows.
yeah,
Now
But
that I think about it too, because even though we still have all that microphone equipment and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you can plug that into the laptop and just use
Use
that
that,
mic.
yeah.
Use
You
that
have the
after, but-
attachment. Yeah, you have the attachment. You use it and shit. So I mean, for sure.
yeah.
Well, I
So
guess it's a boxing show, right? We're gonna talk about some boxing, right?
Yeah.
so
Also, one more thing, bro. Have you tried that Creed on PlayStation?
No.
I saw it in the store, but I was like, I don't know how the shit is, or I don't know what the fuck it's called. I don't know if that'd be any good or
No, I haven't seen it.
yeah. But I think it goes with that VR system, but I don't know. So
I've been hearing great things about the VR system. Heard it's really, really nice on there. I don't have one myself, but heard it's pretty good.
that's in the same price as buying another fucking PlayStation, like $400.
Absolutely. That's why I ain't got one yet.
I saw it in the store, but
I no, nothing. I just wanted to ask y'all, see what y'all have if any boxing y'all watched, this past few days. Or one thing that I will want to talk about before we jump in with our host here in a couple of minutes is, have you noticed? Did you see the video that is swirling around with Billy Joe Saunders of him doing a joke that caused him to suspend his license and with the British Council of Boxing, if I'm not mistaken? I don't know who it was, but he said that he quoted. Some people were saying, was it just a bad joke, or was he being serious? Does he deserve to get suspended? That could jeopardize maybe the fight if it did happen in with Canelo. He was standing next to a punching bag, and he said, "Oh, mates, if you're with your woman at home and she's ticking you off and everything, this is how you're gonna hit her." And he was like next to a punching bag, and he just like showed the steps of how to hit her and how to finish her off, like he did. It was bad. I don't know what y'all think about that. Did y'all see that?
no, I didn't see it at all.
No, I don't think it's a joking matter. You don't play like that. That's just something you don't play around with. But when you're around your boys and around your people, and you joke around, and just you might not mean nothing by it, you're just bullshitting. But this day and age, bro, you gotta watch yourself, man. Everybody got cameras, man. Everybody watching you, man. And that's the bad thing about this day and age, man.
Especially if you record it and put it on your social media, because he recorded and put it in his social media. So I mean, it was just evident, clear for everybody to see it. So that
You
could
can't
jeopardize
trust nobody, man. Look at Kevin Hart. Remember Kevin Hart a while back when one of his homeboys recorded him in a hotel room with some female and tried to blackmail him to get money out of him and stuff like that. And that's one of his partners, man. He did him like that. So yeah, you just can't trust nobody, man.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just unfortunate, but this is not the first time, because I was doing some research about it and I wrote something up about it that this is not the first time that he's done like a joke that has been taken that he hasn't handled correctly.
Right.
Like he did a joke where he was making a joke to a homeless person that he would give her, what would he do for crack? Would he perform an oral sex on his friend? He did a coronavirus joke. He's done so many repeated jokes that it's just people are like, you know what, man? Like, I don't think at this time he even deserves to be, be forgiven. And I personally, in my personal opinion, I don't think he should be forgiven. I don't think what he did was just bad timing. Obviously, they were saying that like the cases could go up of domestic abuse at home because you're stuck at home and what's been going on. So, then he did a charity, he donated some money, and I'm like, that's not going to clear your name. But if you just keep on seeing the repeated offenses, like it's not suited for him. And I don't think he should even be rewarded the highest payday of his career facing Canelo. And if he does, I hope Canelo just tears him up, just literally tears him everywhere. I just hope Canelo just pounds on him.
Yeah, it's pretty drastic, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
pretty serious.
Yeah, I mean, I did it personally didn't like it, and I just just by seeing the reports and the stats of people saying that domestic violence could go up in the next few months due to this, and saying those jokes, yeah, you just don't do that. And seeing that he just always repeating unjust comments and jokes, he doesn't know from his mistakes, and he's a professional. I mean, and obviously boxing, it's a rude sport, and these people grow up on not natural, I guess, upcomings. Let's just say that. So, because you wouldn't hear a golf player making those kind of comments, you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't hear golf players are really more etiquette. You have, sometimes you have. Then you compare, you go to other sports, maybe into soccer. You have some players that make comments like that they don't. So sometimes you just got to see the nature of the background of the players. But the meantime, I mean, I'll go ahead and text our host and get him ready. So I hope you're ready to have him on. Give a brief introduction to him.
But I don't know if y'all noticed locally that there's also the blame quarantine on. There was a little girl that got her parents beat her to death. There might have been 2 kids, but at least one that they blamed that on quarantine. Oh, because they're being held up for quarantine. I was like, I've never seen this shit on Facebook, and I was like, man, you can't blame this shit on, shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, would you be surprised of all the situations that would be going on? Being kids being at home. I mean being stuck with the same people for all day. I mean it could really kind of agitate you, right? I mean it's normal.
Yeah.
And like me and my wife, what we do is we take turns. Like right now she's with him. I was with him all morning. Like I make breakfast. I spend time with him. I took him out to walk around, and I took him for a drive so he could go to sleep. Once he went to sleep, I went to go for a run around here at the house. I mean, just learning what's your surroundings.
How were those pancakes, man? I saw you on was it Instagram, Facebook? You posted those pancakes. How were they? Is it pretty good? Oatmeal and yogurt or something like that?
Yeah. It was oatmeal. I blended it. And then I mixed it with yogurt and a pancake mix a little bit, and then I put a little bit of water. And then I mixed it, yeah. And then I put it inside the pan, or I warmed it up,
yeah.
And we had some delicious pancakes. So I'm just trying to stay healthy. But anyways, Chris, seeing behind you those gloves that you have, who are they signed by?
You have Danny Garcia, you have Chocolatito. I know I started with Danny. I don't know why, but Danny. You have Fernando Vargas, you got Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, Mikey Garcia, Cheeto Madonna. You have Andre Ward. You have Robert Garcia, Mikey Garcia. You have Roy Jones, Freddie Roach, Abner Mares, Miguel Cotto. Keith Thurman, Sav Judah, Bam Bam Rios, Earl Spence, Canelo Alvarez, and there's some more gloves around the corner. That's Timothy Bradley, Telefino, Oscar Valdez, Kelly Pavlik, and there's somebody else over there. So,
wow, you got a lot of people on there, huh?
Well, yeah, that's kind of how the Real Talk boxing started, man. Me and bro were out there, and I wanted some autographs, get close to the fighters, and one thing led to another, and here we are. We're live on YouTube now. So
device connected. Okay, there he is. All right, he's ready. We're gonna have him on, and our host will be here. He is Hector Beltran.
What's up?
Finally. How's it going, bro? Hey, first of all, I just want to congratulate you again. I was telling the guys that you just had a baby. What, probably less than a month ago?
Yeah, she's like 7 weeks old. Yeah.
Is this your first kid or?
Second.
Okay.
Second, yeah. My first girl.
Okay. Yeah, you learn the difference. Second kid is always the worst one.
Yeah.
I have 2 daughters. And the oldest one, I remember when she was little, you made sure if you drop something on the floor, you clean it right then and there, give it to her. You always make sure she's clean. The second one, you're like, oh, you don't give a fuck. You're like, oh, it's fine. Pick up the phone falls on the floor, pick it up, put it in your mouth, you're fine, give it back to her. It's like, then it's just
Make
funny.
them stronger.
Yeah, for sure.
But hey,
Tougher.
but it's a girl, so girls stick a
Yeah,
little bit more with the
and
fathers, right?
it's a big time difference. My son, he'll be 15 on the 18th of this month, and she's 7 weeks old, so it's a big gap. Hopefully she's as good as my boy. My boy's he's a good kid.
That's good.
And you know what? Like more further in when we go more with the interview, I read something about you, and I guess I'll just jump into that, and then I'll let the guys tag along. But while I started reading more about you, there was an article that it came upon you while you were a professional fighter. That it said, I was telling the guys also too that you were in the undercard of Oscar De La Hoya versus Mayweather. Around that time is when you had your son. Aren't I
Right.
right? Right?
Right. Yeah, it was. My son was born in 2005, and I think that fight was when was it in 2005 or six? Yeah, it was around
I
that
think it
time.
was, yeah, it was around that time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now let's go ahead and for a lot of people that don't know about you, that should start to know about you, because obviously you're the trainer, you're one of the trainers of Virgil Ortiz. Go ahead and give us a little background for people, because I mean I've known about you since you were professional. I mean, there's even pictures of you that you have when you were a professional and Luis Yanes was like looking up to you, or y'all were
Mhm.
training in the same gym. So how did boxing start for you, and how did you end up being a trainer, what you are today?
So when I was about 12 years old, I just kind of stumbled upon Vivero Boxing Gym. I was walking from a friend's house, and it just caught my eye, and I was just like, let me try this. I went back home. I asked my mom if I could. She was like, "Can I have $30?" Because back then it was $30 to join, and she was like, "For what?" And I said, "Well, I want to start going to this boxing gym." And she was like, "Okay." So she gave me the money. I would ride my bike to the gym because I lived maybe about 4 blocks away, and I would ride my bike every day to go to the gym, and that's kind of how I started boxing myself. Turned pro. Had about 15 pro fights. Had about 100 amateur fights. And while I was training at Vivero, actually, even when I was like 15 years old, my coach Dennis Rodarte, which is Gene's brother, was like, you know what, get this guy on the mitts. So I started training while I was like 15 years old. So I was doing the mitts, and once I was done training, I would go and get people on the mitts. And the first one that I took under kind of my wing was Luis Janes. I kind of started him off when he started working out, and showing him what I knew, and how to throw his punches, and kind of gave him a little style to go with. And he was always one of those kids who if you could do 50 push-ups, I could do 55. Even though he couldn't, he would always try to beat you at everything. He was just that kind of, that's just the way that he was. That's just the way he was. And he was a phenomenal amateur fighter. Phenomenal. It just didn't translate, later on during his pro career and stuff like that. So I've always stayed training people. And once I was done training myself, or with my, doing my training, I would help and train other guys. And that's kind of how I got started coaching.
Um, let me ask you something else before I forget. You posted on Twitter a couple of weeks ago that you do see a lot of trainers charging, and correct me if I'm wrong. You said you're charging a an amount to train kids, and you said I don't do that because I love this and I know how. Like I don't charge in a large amount of money, and I do it from the heart because I love seeing these kids, develop into either great amateurs or turn
Right.
to professionally. So, well, what made you say that? Because I was telling my guys right before you came on and right before we started the show that me personally, I've thought about doing classes in the summer, and then I was like, man, I'm kind of scared not to do a charge or something, because Hector might say, dude, bro, why are you charging people?
Yeah, no. Okay, so I grew up in Oak Cliff, so obviously we didn't come from a lot of money, and the way that I was taught was with Dennis and Gene. They bought me my first pair of gloves, like my set, once I was already like 16 years old, like a whole Zippo set. That was the most expensive pair of gloves that I've ever had. The cup, the headgear, and there was Zeppo, which were the Lopez spelled backwards.
Yeah.
And they always helped me out, especially Dennis. Man, he would take care of me. He would take me to his job, to his restaurant. They had a restaurant where I would work as a busboy, and I'd make like $30 a day. So I worked Friday night, Saturday, 2 shifts on Saturday, and then and then we did our training or whatever. But that's just the kind of way that I grew up. The reason that I say that is because I see a lot of trainers who are not really, they don't know much, and I've seen this a lot, and they train kids and they end up getting hurt. There's nothing wrong with starting up a class if kids don't want to really compete and stuff like that. But I think it takes someone who knows what they're doing to kind of guide them and kind of show them how boxing is supposed to be, how you're supposed to be safe, how you're supposed to protect yourself, show the fundamentals, the basics and stuff like that. And I see guys who weren't really coaches who just jump into it, or weren't really boxers who jump into it and charge like $100 for a kid, which to me seems kind of ridiculous a little bit sometimes, especially just taking the path that I took. $100, I've even heard like 150, 125, and to me that sounds like a lot of money if you don't have the credentials. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
None of my amateur kids, and also the reason I said it is because I don't charge none of my amateur kids that I have. None of them, I never charge them, but at the same time, I don't take on many of them. So I just have a handful of guys that I train, and I stick to coaching them and not charging, opposed to charging a big class and making a lot of money. So I'm not really, the reason I say it, I'm not in it for the money. I am, and I'm not. Once they turn pros, then that's where I would make my money, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do a big class because it would take a lot away from the kids that I'm actually training, who are actually competing, who are actually going to nationals, who are actually, trying to become professional fighters. And that's just the reason that I wouldn't charge that amount of money.
That makes sense, because for me, I talked to Hector Vasquez. I'm sure you know who that is.
Right.
I talked to him, and then I told him, I say, hey man, I want to do a class in the summer because parents want to keep their kids not home all day and stay active, and social media and the technology keeps them at the house.
Right.
So I told him, let me go ahead and do a class. I got a few amateur behind me. Virgil Senior just sent me a message. Right now, so it just threw me off. I'll ask him what he just told me. But I told Hector, and this is just me personally. I told him, hey man, if I do give the class, let me go ahead and take a book that one of the guys, Freddie Roach, did on how to train kids. There's a guy from Ring of Hope that has like a book, an instruction of how to teach kids the basics, because it's not just throwing the 1-2s. It's just about doing the fundamentals. So I told Hector, that he said, that I actually get you more credibility, because you're not just doing it, for the money. And me, I don't want to charge a large amount, because
but you actually boxed for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I boxed.
So I mean, you would know kind of what you're doing, and like I said, in my point of view, if they want to do it for exercise or just kill time, or hell, even if they want to get a little bit better, there's nothing wrong with it. The thing that I have an issue with is when I see kids getting hurt with someone who doesn't know what they're doing, and they do it continuously. Like I've seen coaches here in Dallas who have gotten a lot of kids hurt, and they keep coaching, and that to me is kind of where I'm like, damn man, you're making that much money? Like that kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah. And I guess when I started with my coach Carlos Castillo and East Dallas, and then I went with Pablo Cortez, who trained you, and
Right.
then now with Hector Vasquez, I have all these, and the coaches that are in my gym, I have all these, I guess, fundamentals and techniques of how to fight. The ages. Coach Knuckles trains all the young kids, and I said, okay, so I know the basics is you got to crawl before you walk. So you're not gonna throw the 1-2s. You got to learn how to throw the punch. You got to know what's your stance. Well, anyways, I know I've been asking way too many questions. I know Chris has been wanting to ask you some questions. So I'll go ahead and let Chris ask you, and then I'm gonna ask you something that Virgil just told me.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for being on the show with us. I appreciate it so much, and thanks for being here with us. So, quick question. So you trained down there at with Robert Garcia too, right?
Right. Yeah.
How's that experience been for you?
It's been an experience, actually, a very positive one. it kind of helped me realize where I was and how I'm not that far off as a trainer, I believe. But they do have a lot of experience, which is like the stuff that they know. I know in my head, and when I see Robert coach his guys, especially during fights, this is where I get most of my experience from. Is that what I see? He's already spitting it out, like telling the guys like when the round comes. Where to me, I would have to process it, and it'll probably take me a round or two, and then like, okay, this is kind of. But for him, it's just like this. He'll just, hey, this is this. You need to do this, and that. It may be a little bit different with Virgil, only because me and his dad have been with him for like forever. Uh, and but from when I see his other fighters and stuff, he already knows, he already sees what the other guys are trying to do. He already sees what his guy can do. So in that aspect is been a real experience, and I've been learning a lot, just kind of looking at him and Pita and just the other guys. As far as knowing the business side, that's also an eye opener, and that's kind of what you have to put your foot in the door, kind of, and start learning some of that stuff as well.
With Virgil Ortiz, man, how with him in camp and everything, he's something special, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely, and it's been kind of crazy to watch. Well, not really, because me and his dad, and of course even Robert, they all know what he can do. But just some of the sparrings that I've seen and the guys that he spars and how well he does, it kind of, he doesn't stop learning, and he's kind of that's the type of fighter that he is he won't make some of the same mistakes the same way, and he's just a hard worker, and that's what's really gotten him there. Working hard, and he's always been that type of a fighter, and that's kind of what his dad has instilled in him, is to work hard and you'll be rewarded.
And that since he worked his mitts, man, how's that power? That's some real power there.
Oh yeah, yeah,
we see on TV, and we see what he does on TV, but you actually working those mitts, so you feel that power. So that power is the truth.
Yeah, I'll give you a little inside story. When he was fighting Mauricio Herrera, I was doing the mitts with him before we, warming him up, and I went for a body shot down a left body for him. It would be with his left hand, and I kind of held my glove a little bit high, and he caught me right on the ribs, and we were on live too, so I couldn't be like, oh shit, but it took my air out a little bit, and man, it stung. But no, yeah, he hits real hard. Sometimes I feel it in my shoulder, kind of move out a little bit, and with each side, so I have to kind of hold him real close sometimes and do a little give with him, and no, he hits real hard. He's real heavy-handed.
Hector, Virgil just texted me. He just texted me right now, and he told me to. He been texting me while we're on the show, but he just told me, and I do agree with this. But there's something that I've noticed about Virgil Senior. Mm-hmm. He said Hector's a lot better than he thinks, and I agree. He's evolving. Everybody keeps evolving in anything they do. And he says, and I told him, with your knowledge, Virgil's knowledge, and with Rob, obviously you're gonna keep on growing. But one of my things that I've noticed from Virgil, and I think you've seen it too, and is that when y'all started coming more part of Robert Garcia's camp, there was a video that Eli Setbeck was recording of Virgil, and you were on the mitts. And Eli turned to Virgil and he said, "Who's that? Why are you not doing mitts with your son?" And then Virgil said, "Because he was one of the first ones that's been part of Virgil since he's been little." And there's many pictures of you, Hector, when you're in the ring talking to Virgil, and Virgil's outside. We're hearing the commands that you're giving him. So what I see here is a great dynamic of team. And I told Chris, and Rob was not on here, when I was in San Antonio, the most recent when I got to talk to you as well. Robert Garcia takes you a lot into, he takes a lot of your thoughts and your ideas, because he was like, "Hey, Hector, what do you think about this? Oye, Hector, ¿qué piensas de esto?" And he thinks a lot about you. And then also, and more further down the line, when we talk about this, when you were, I think, on Friday, you were in a fight in LA, and then you flew out to New York. Right after the fight, you were in a fight on Sunday, and then Sunday you came back to Dallas.
Right.
So how does it feel that Virgil? Because dude, I told everybody about this, but Virgil Senior's IQ in boxing, tremendous. It's in another level, bro. Like it's so much that I'm surprised, dude.
Let me tell you a little bit, kind of like the way that Virgil is. He's actually a perfectionist. That's
Yeah.
how he is. He's real meticulous with watching fights and stuff like that, and he's very good at noticing things like during fights, and like when Virgil fights, he'll send me this is the guy that he's fighting. Watch him and tell me what you think. And then this is kind of how me and him will say, well, I'll tell him, like, this guy, like Mauricio Herrera, this is, and kind of like we watched him, and I don't want to give too much away, but we said, look, I noticed that he does this a lot. And I know a lot of people don't like to watch video and say, well, they're not going to do that every fight. But honestly, there's certain habits that are, or even for pros sometimes, that are hard to break. If you have a habit, that's just your habit. If look at Leo Santa Cruz, he twitches his right arm, and that's just his twitch. When you notice things like that and you figure out how you can capitalize, and you put that in your camp and say, hey, look, this is what this guy's gonna do, and this is what he's gonna do it. It's still up to the fighter to notice when he does it and when he's supposed to throw his certain punches and when he's not. So, but you're just kind of giving that in the back of his head and say, hey, look, this is what the guy does, and you'll see it in the ring. But yeah, man, he that's just the way Virgil is. Robert has always been welcoming. He shouts me out a lot in a lot of videos as well. It's been a perfect team, I think, right now so far.
Oh yeah.
And I think just as much as I'm learning from him, he's learning from us. On how to train Virgil, and he's done a real good job in not only coaching him but showing him the business side as well.
What would you like next,
Robert? Oh, Chris, sorry, no, go ahead, Chris.
This is a quick question. What would you like next for Virgil going forward? What would you want to see happen with once all this coronavirus dies out and all this stuff, and moving forward, what would you like to see Virgil Ortiz and happen with his future?
Well, I definitely would like for him to have a world title by the end of this year. Like, I mean, I really believe he's ready for it. That's what I would love for it to happen. I don't get too much as into his matchmaking and who I want him to see fight personally, because I am a fan. Right. Of course, there's fighters that I do want to see him fight, and there's a lot of things that I know that a lot of his fans haven't seen him do. That I know he can do, and I tell this to everybody. Once someone tests Virgil, like, kind of, it's a back and forth fight, you'll always see Virgil pick it up a level. Like, no matter how good the guy is, he'll pick it up another level to kind of top them, and if they pick it up, he'll pick it up more. That's just how he's built. That he's always been, even in the amateur fights, he's fought guys that I'm like, man, that guy's good. He's always picked it up. Like, he's always risen to the occasion and surpassed it. And that's, I think, more than anything, it's just his mentality. That's just how he is. So what do I want from him? Definitely a world title. I want him to win his first world title by the end of this year. I want to see him get the big fights. I don't know how easy that's going to be, only because Golden Boy doesn't have a lot of 147 champions or any, really. So I don't know who's going to give him that opportunity, to be honest, with PBC. There's a lot of things that, like obviously, you don't want to send your fighter to go fight a champion and fight in their background, hometown, and them have that edge. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's gonna take some management between his dad, Robert, Golden Boy, and just to seize the right opportunity. Hopefully, what was the Russian name? Who did he ever give up that title? That got caught with steroids? What's his name? The welterweight.
I remember you.
Hopefully he can go after that title. I wish. I mean, I don't know. I mean, whoever they put in front of him, I think he's ready.
So you think he can make 140 again or no? Or you stand at 147?
No.
Because I'm saying with the zone, there's plenty of opportunity to fight somebody at 140 with the zone because you got Regis pro grade, and stuff like that. But I didn't know if he could still make 140 anymore.
Ideally, if he could have, he would have stayed at 140. Look, this is kind of he was struggling to make 140 at some point, like towards the end, and he could have fought at a catch weight like at 43, 42, but his dad is a professor. He said, if we're gonna fight at 140, we're gonna fight at 140. I don't want you. If you're gonna be at 47, then you're gonna be at 47.
47, yeah.
But he's gotten so big. He's gotten
quickly too. Very quick.
Yeah. He's still growing. I don't know if he's growing any like height wise, but he's getting his man body now, and I don't think he'll ever make 140 again. He'd probably have to chop off a leg or something.
Okay, with you being with him so long, when you first started working with Virgil, did you notice he was something special?
Even before I got there, I seen him fight at one. I think it was one of the Silver Gloves, and he the way he was banging was, I was like, damn, that kid can fight. And I knew his dad, of course, and him, from seeing him around the tournaments and stuff. And he was always around Gene. But he was real little. He was real little. And I told his dad, I said, man, your boy can fight. And he goes, and he said, he was like, thank you, man. And that was it. I've always known that he could fight. Like that has always been, I've always said that he's always been a fighter. He's always been a real good fighter. What has impressed me is how he's developed skills like learning how to box, learning how to use his jab, learning how to time people, learning how to take advantages of opportunities that people have, making openings during certain shots, during certain combinations. If you look at his fight when he fought, he caught the guy with a body shot. I forgot his name, but he's from Mexico. And he kind of turned and he hit him with the body shot. You don't see that body shot, like, because that body shot wasn't there. It was just kind of instinct where the guy threw a shot and he kind of caught him at the same time as he was throwing it, and he stopped him with that body shot. Things like that is what amazes me about him.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
What do you feel about okay, first of all, what have you been doing since the quarantine whole thing? Are y'all able to just train or like that, just sit at home?
No.
Or?
I just been at home chilling, enjoying my babies, my son boxes. He's 14. He's just actually, today I had him run and we did some mitt work, but I haven't been out of the house. It's just, for whatever we need, groceries and stuff like that. I've been home. We haven't been to the gym. Our gym, we're at Irving Powell. It's closed down for right now since it's a city gym. Yeah. Part of the police department. We can't go. So I got so bored I shaved.
I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah, I got so bored I shaved. I was like, man, let me do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, we haven't been doing nothing. I know Virgil's been training little Virgil at Virgil's house, so that's good.
So going back to I guess we'll talk a little bit about Virgil, and we can focus on that too. And I wanted to focus more about you. What is one of the biggest things that you can take away from Robert Garcia? And I've asked you this again, but for people who get into more know about you, like, what is one of the biggest things that you've taken out from Robert Garcia, aside from the business side? Because there's levels to this, and me being around Hector Vasquez and he's doing the shows for Mikey Garcia, and then he's helping here. Like, he tells me on the business side, and I know a little bit, and I'm like, wow, like there's literally more that meets the eye.
Right.
To set up a match, there really is. Like, even by you saying, like, setting up a fighter with somebody else, like, even when a pro debut is gonna make his debut and he's gonna fight somebody that has already 11 losses and 1 win. Your coach is going to be like, well, he already has 12 fights. So he has more maturity than you in the ring. So just little stuff like that. But, like, what is one of the biggest aspects that you take away from Robert Garcia, who's literally has a huge stable in the ring and his boxing academy or gym?
I think how he treats people, that's been one of the biggest things. He's really a real good dude. He's I when I was going over to New York, he was like, "Hey, you're taking that guy to fight, right?" And he was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay." He was like, "Hey, I have a place for you to stay," because I was staying an extra day. And he goes, "Did you get a hotel already?" I was like, "No, I'm about to get it." He's like, "Don't get it, don't get it. I have a friend who owns a hotel over there, and he got me a free room for a day." And that's just really what I take away more than anything is just how he treats people. He's a real cool guy. Like a lot of people don't understand, and he never says no to pictures. He's always taking pictures, and I think that's just one of the reasons why he's so successful, as well as aside from him, having a big stable and just being around boxing his whole life and being a world champion, is just how he treats people. So that's really why people want to be around him as well. You treat people good things happen to you, and I think that's one of the keys to his success as well.
Do you ever plan on getting your own gym yourself?
That's kind of what I was telling Yair is I actually was gonna at one point. I was so close. I already had a spot and everything to having my own gym. What held me back was having the time to train my guys. If I'm at a gym by my at my own gym, I have to be there every time. I won't be able to leave for training camp for 3 to 4 weeks at a time, and then if I have another guy that's fighting, I won't be able to fly out. And then I know one of the trainers in San Antonio that has boxers and brawlers. He doesn't travel much, but he's a very, very, very good coach. He's a really good coach, actually, and he has his own gym. And just talking with a lot of gym owners, it's real time consuming and real crazy to have your own. You have to be there all the time. Pete Rojas has his own gym, and he always has to be there. And that's just kind of what holds me back. I think in the future it's going to be something that happens, but just right now, I think starting my own stable of fighters and having my own professional amateur fighters.
Awesome.
Who at one point who were all ranked in the top 10 is just takes a lot of time up.
So besides Virgil, how many pros do you have that you train at all?
So I have Virgil, I have Hector Valdez, and I just started working with James Wilkins Crunch Time. I have those three besides Virgil, and yeah, that's it. That's
Crunch
it.
Time is with Roy Jones Jr.'s promotions, right? Or management?
No, yeah, he's with Roy Jones, but he's with Golden Boy.
Okay, he's with Golden Boy. Because I know at San Antonio, Roy Jones was like right around him and like very I guess just guiding him and everything. So that's why I was just asking.
That's what he does. That's what what Roy Jones does with him. He guides him. He teaches him. He kind of mentors him. I know he's taken him in even when he was younger. I know Crunch Time has gone over to his house and trained at his house and stayed at his house, and stuff like that. So that's been pretty cool. I'm kind of bummed out that we haven't had they canceled all these shows for one thing, but I was looking forward to having our first fight with him.
So were y'all helpful to get Hector signed to Golden Boy, or?
Yeah, Virgil made that happen. Big Virgil. Well, obviously, little Virgil too. He opened the door for us, but Hector Valdez, of course, he was under contract with a local manager, promoter, or whatever you want to say, and his contract's over. So we told him, hey, just keep working, and then we'll try to get you signed. And they seen him, they loved him. Did you guys watch his fight?
Me and bro saw him when he first started. With with second, third fight in there when he used to fight for Standing 8 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
But no, CKO. Yeah, he was. We could tell then it was like he was outstanding back then when we first started seeing him fight before compared to everybody else.
He had some power, man. He was not
when he was 8 years old, I was a pro, and we were at the same gym at the time. He was. We were at Casa Guanajuato. I was at Casa Guanajuato for a little while with Dennis. and he, I mean, I would say him, the Mojica brothers, Oscar and Freddie,
Yeah.
and his cousin, they would all just sit or stand by the ring and just kind of watch all the pros spar, which was Antonio Lopez, me, Jesse Lara, Elias, a bunch of the pros, and they would just kind of sit there and watch the whole time. So I've known Little Hector for a long, long, long time. I just never trained him until last couple of years.
And he's came a long way, right? Honestly.
Yeah, he's always been a talent. Like Hector Valdez is a very talented, smart boxer. Well, maybe not smart sometimes, because he kind of gets the he tries to go into the tough, macho guy, and that's one of the things that I've been working with him. Yeah, I don't. Hopefully, you guys seen this in his last fight.
Yep.
In San Antonio, he was a lot smarter. He was moving his head more. Not trying to be too brave, and he's done that. And in his last fight, he said it himself. He goes, I understand now. I understand that, throwing not every shot hard counts, just setting some shots up, making pop, and then cracking. He goes, I see that a lot more now. So he's come a long way as well.
Okay, with you growing up here, do you feel like what do you think of the talent from Dallas, the boxing talent?
Man, Dallas is one of the most talented, the whole DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth surroundings. I think they're one of the best cities boxing wise in all of the U.S. We always have kids that compete in the national level, but not only that, but I look at the pros that are coming up: Virgil, Earl Spence, Maurice Hooker. There's a lot of good talent here. I think we don't have the longevity that all the, like, California and Fort Worth, that have a lot of world champions have. So maybe we're not recognized like they are yet. But I think we're on our way, and I think that's a true testament to what Debbie and all the officials here in our LBC have done. They've done a real good job of keeping things in line, continuously throwing shows, helping the coaches out and stuff like that. And we've always, I don't know if you guys remember, California used to always bring it in the national level. Now. Yeah. They've kind of, because of things that have happened between amateur judging, coaching, and stuff like their amateur program, they haven't been seen as much, but they always have the talent because they have a lot of professional fighters who are up there. Same thing with San Antonio. San Antonio used to have a lot of great amateur fighters. They've had a falling out as far as their amateur program. With their LBC, and now you don't see as many as fighters like they did back then. Like they used to always dominate. So I think it's a true testament to all the judges and officials that we have here, that we have such good fighters, and they keep throwing good tournaments and keep them busy.
I want to piggyback on that question. After the Antonio Orozco fight, Virgil won here in Grand Prairie. Virgil said, "I want to be a pathway. I want to, be one of the openings for a lot of fighters because my city does not get a lot of recognition." He said that. He said, right. I still got the audio, because I asked him, and even going back to when you know him since younger, when he would go to our gym with Paulo Cortez. I always remind Virgil Sr. I was like, hey, do you remember when he came to the gym and he put a beating on one of our pros, and Virgil was barely an amateur, and he was not even he was barely 16 or 17. And I told Virgil, I said, hey, I said, you still remember that day? I remember I went up to Virgil and I went up to my coach and said, wow, this dude can thump. And Paulo Cortez would say, man, he can thump. And he would say extra stuff. But Virgil did say that. He said, I want to be a key or an opening. And we just saw that he opened the pathway for Hector Valdez. Could you possibly see that as a Virgil? I mean, not putting all that on his shoulders, but being more like an essential, not essential helper, like somebody that can motivate or push more upcoming amateurs to have that, spotlight on them to become good professionals.
Yeah, that's such a true testament to his maturity. That's just the way that he is. But yeah, definitely, I do see. I already see it. I already see a lot of the kids back at our gym who. I mean, you guys see it. You guys are around boxing. After a big fight, you guys see everybody at the gym the next day, right? Training real hard, and it's not a knock on anyone, and especially not on the kids. That's a good thing. You know, the more that we have big fights like that, the more that they're going to be enthused to go back to the gym, to work hard. And we have fighters like Earl Spence, like Maurice Hooker, like Virgil Ortiz that are putting their mark in boxing here in Dallas. What do you think these kids are gonna? These kids are looking up to them, and of course, yeah, they're gonna go back to the gym and train even harder and get better in boxing. So yeah, I think they're gonna open doors and give back to their community. So we'll have a lot more good fighters coming out of Dallas.
This is a big question. Virgil Ortiz Sr. has been going on Instagram Live and just chatting it up with the fans and a lot of people tuning in. Somebody asked them and said, and then even happened on the zone, having Earl Spence and Virgil next to each other. So that opened like a lot of like comments, like, could we see Virgil and Spence in the near future? And I even asked you that. So what do you think about that?
Definitely, I think it's doable, and I think it's doable here at the AT&T Stadium in the future. I don't know. Earl Spence is a big 147. I don't know if it'll happen at 147, like Virgil said. It'll probably happen at 154. But I definitely think that fight is one of the fights that are a potential mega fight here locally and all around the world. I think that that fight will happen. I don't know when though. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. But I honestly do think Earl Spence is a talent that's always going to be in the top 1 or 2, 3 best in the world champion status. Now Virgil still has to make his way up and get there, and we don't want to overlook at the obstacles that he has coming up first. So whatever they put in front of him, whatever Golden Boy tells him, whoever they tell him to fight is who he's going to fight. And so I think that's where most of his focus channels in before he fights, of course. And so definitely not overlooking anyone.
Being around Golden Boy, being around the zone, being around all these star boxers, professional boxers, all these gyms, people coming into Robert Garcia's boxing gym. Could you name me some of the people that you've met that you've been like, wow, I finally got to meet this legendary professional fighter or this legendary commentator or etc.?
I think I haven't really been like wowed, just because that's just now who I am. Like, oh my God, I need to get a picture or get an autograph. Like if they're there and they're taking pictures, I'll say, yeah, can I get a picture? But like I've seen Canelo. Obviously, to me, my favorite fighter has been Oscar De La Hoya. I've met him plenty of times, but I think maybe Mike Tyson. When I seen him and I met him, I was like, damn, you could actually feel like pandemonium where people are trying to get at him, and you kind of feel that presence. Other than him, Roy Jones was real cool, but I think just Mike Tyson, where I've been really starstruck. I was like, God damn, that's Mike Tyson. He's the only one that I've maybe Oscar the first time that I met him, but like I said, I've met him a few times already. But other than that,
and now you have lunch.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, we need to have lunch.
Yeah.
Well, one more quick question for you. So obviously you're a fighter and then you're a trainer. Then as you talk as a trainer, you talk with passion. You talk like truly you do enjoy this. So which was better? Do you like being a trainer better, or do you like being a boxer better?
Well, when you win a boxer, I guess there's nothing that'll take away the the adrenaline of you going into a fight. It's like adrenaline that I've never had before, or even after, maybe with a couple exceptions. But it's definitely a rush. It's something that whenever you retire and you don't fight anymore, you'll probably never get back for a lot of fighters. So I think maybe being a boxer is a better feeling, but at the same time, training right now has opened a lot of doors for me as well. And of course, I couldn't do one without the other. So it's a real tough question. I like when I used to fight better, but I also like, it's more of a maturity thing, like to see all these kids grow up and even if they're not boxing anymore, to see them be exceptional kids and kind of not go the wrong way. I think that's been more satisfying than what I did in boxing.
Do you get that rush as a trainer walking out into the ring with your fighter? Do you get that rush at all?
It's not the same, but yeah, you do, but it's not the same. It's not you. Actually, when you're going into a fight and it's you fighting and it's a professional fight, it's kind of like you are going to war.
Exactly.
You're going to war, and you have to tap into a mentality to be real focused, but you have to be mentally ready that you're going into war and you have to be ready for everything.
Okay. I guess my last question would be future plans. What you got planned for the future for yourself as a trainer?
Well, I mean, continue to make good fighters. Obviously, I have a nice stable of boxers, amateur boxers. So hopefully they'll transition over to the pros, and continue to grow my stable. Continue to learn. I know a lot of trainers who've gotten big and they think they can't learn. Keep on learning. It's totally false. I've actually learned from some trainers who may not even be great trainers, but if you see their point of view, you can learn a lot that way too. So yeah, just hopefully have that world champion with Virgil, and then keep getting world champions after that.
Well, y'all doing a wonderful job with Virgil.
Thank you.
In the ring and out the ring, he's doing wonderful things, and thank you for giving us this time, man. I do appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on.
But yeah, appreciate it, Hector. I appreciate you. When I message you, when I talk to you, during fights or after fights, you always take the time. When I've texted you, you've never turned me down or turned us down. So I appreciate it, bro. And I hope you enjoy this time with your family. And I wish you nothing but the best. I know we all do wish you nothing but the best. And then
Thank you guys.
we'll stay in touch, bro. And enjoy the rest of your night and make sure you get enough sleep.
All right, guys. You guys stay safe.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, brother. Well, that was Hector Beltran. That was a very good.
Yeah, it was.
I learned a lot.
Sure.
Well, we got a few more minutes. I don't know what else y'all want to touch on. I guess on Sunday we'll have another episode and continue doing this. Or what do you think, Rob?
Yeah, sounds good. Completely enjoyed the interview. It was good to see him, find out stuff about Virgil that, some people don't know. So stuff like that, how long they've been together. And I guess I'm assuming he went from, if he's been with Virgil that long, he must have went to Diaz, training with him with Joel Diaz, and then went to Robert Garcia afterwards when he left there. Yeah. So
and there's a reason why they left from Diaz to Robert, and Hector told me that kind of off the record, and it was nothing personal, and it was just more the style that his father wanted for Virgil, and his father's always looking for the best interest of him, and Hector has explained that to me, and you do see the different styles of every coach, but
yeah, it made me think about Virgil Sr. Like, I wonder if he'd ever think about getting management for boxers. It's not something we could ask Hector, but it's something we could ask Virgil. Because if he's getting people signed to Golden Boy, then, if it's something that he'd be interested in managing fighters too.
Well, there's something that he told me that he has something. He has something. That's all I can say.
Yeah, but I don't know if it'd be a conflict of interest because, Robert manages too, Robert Garcia. So, if it'd be, a conflict of interest, I guess. So.
I don't know that, and I don't want to ask more of that. But the way that Virgil Sr. and y'all hear it and y'all see it every day, the way he the way he uses his words and the way he conducts himself, like you do learn a lot. As me, like, and all of us, we never stop learning. And like there was, I forgot to ask Hector Beltran this, but like when Virgil knocked out Mauricio Herrera, people were looking at the knockdown. I was not focused on the knockdown. I was focused on more of the movement that Virgil did that to set up that knockdown. So I noticed those little things. But anyways, I mean, I enjoyed the show. We're about to literally hit about an hour now. We're about to hit an hour now. So
it was good, man. It was a good good interview. A lot of good content there. And the dude was a nice dude, man. So he answered questions, and it wasn't short. It was just he elaborated on them and made it more fulfilling for us, man. So great interview.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah.
Jay, I like this whole little setup, man. It's pretty straight, man. Takes a little while getting used to, but I like it. Ain't bad.
Yeah, I can flip it around. I can do it differently. So yeah, I mean I love this. So I'll let you finish it off, Rob. I'll let you finish it off so we can conclude this episode.
Yeah, like same things before. If you're not following Real Talk Boston, make sure you're following us on all social media. We're gonna try to do this twice a week, at least once a week. I don't know if we have set days. Don't really know.
We talked about Thursday and Sunday, didn't we? We kind of agreed, kind of like Thursday and Sunday, and have something like this.
The shit don't faze me, so it works for me. So I mean, works for everybody
else. It's
not
like we're doing anything.
Yeah, right now can't do shit. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Glad to be back on. So
yeah, it was good. So it was good, guys. I'll go ahead and end the broadcast.